the original three, the big three, the holy trinity. That's kind of heavy-handed. That's kind of a lot. But of course, guys, I'm talking about Chris Reeve, Rick Hinderer, Mick Strider. Very much what everybody considers, like I said, to be the original three, the ones that really set the standard for the folding knife, EDC knife, community. They set the standard. They're a good product. But an argument can be made that you only need one of these knives because they're all good, right? Argument can also be made that you need one of each of them, or maybe multiples of each, right? But regardless, guys, what I want to do here is I want to kind of do like a 10-mile high view on this, give my thoughts kind of in general. Now, you can deep dive and drill down into the specifics of each one of these and their many different offerings. But what I want to do, like I said, is give kind of my 10-mile high view observations, and maybe especially more for somebody who doesn't have one of these, hasn't had any hands-on experience with one. Maybe this is going to be their first purchase, right? And they're trying to decide, which one of the three do I get first, or which one of the three do I get if I can only have one? And so that's kind of what I want to do in this video, because yes, these are expensive knives, they're expensive brands, right? And so what I'm gonna do is just real quick, I'm just gonna start off with Chris Reeve knife. So what does a Chris Reeve knife do that I think it does better than the other two? Well, I think that a Chris Reeve knife is appropriate anywhere and everywhere. What do I mean by that, right? Well, it's going to be, of course, all of these knives are going to be capable hard use knives. That's not in question. You can use these knives, right? But what I think the Chris Reeve does is it's a little more of a refined look. And what I mean by that is I feel like it's got more of that gentleman's style folder thing going on with it, right? You can carry one of these in the office. You can carry one at a wedding. But you can also take it outside and, use it in a garden or a farm or whatever. It's going to be appropriate anywhere and everywhere. Of course, you've got a few different models. You've got larges, you got, Sabenzas and Kosis, Omnazons, you got some lockbacks. So there's an option or a model out there, I think, for anyone and for everyone. But like I said, if you want a classic sleek design that you can take anywhere, check out the Chris Reeve Sabenza. Definitely, I would say, is their flagship model. And I think that it would be a great one to consider, if that's what you're looking for. Up next, Rick Hinderer. This here is the XM18. I've got a bronze colored titanium show scale on it. And what I think the Hinderer knife does better than the other two is diversity. Holy cow, there are a ton of options, a ton of aftermarket support for the Rick Hinderer XM18 in particular, right? But most of the Hinderers you can readily find replacement parts and aftermarket parts for, pretty readily, pretty easily. You'll be able to customize this thing, different color screws, different color hardware. There's a ton of blade shapes. Hell, even the pivot system that comes with a knife, the tri-way pivot system, I'm not sure if this is going to show up, but that's what that symbol is there on the flipper tab. That's a tri-way pivot system, right? You can put this knife on bearings, on washers, or phosphor bronze washers, or on Teflon washers. So along with, the ton of options that you have with the colors and the outward appearance, you can even customize the internals as well. So yeah, that's the Hinderer. All right, and then last but certainly not least, Mick Strider knives. This here is the SNG focus. There we go. So Strider knives, I think, take more of a tactical approach, right? More of a tactical approach to the pocket knife world. They are, I'm not going to say less refined, but I think if you were to buy a brand new Strider, like brand new from them, they're going to require a little bit of TLC, a little bit of a break-in period. That's not a bad thing. It's just a thing. In fact, I really like the process of breaking in a new strider and getting it, nice and smooth. And there's something about it that just gives you enjoyment knowing that you have, carried this knife and used it and opened it up enough and come on, focus. And now it's, just buttery smooth. Something about that just really makes you feel, makes you feel good, makes you feel proud. But, I think more of a tactical approach was taken with these knives. So if you're looking for something maybe a little more tactical, here you go, Strider knives. And another thing I think is worth mentioning with Strider is I do feel like they hold their value a little bit better. I've seen Striders, with a little bit of, scratches on the handles or on the blade or on the pocket clip, and it really doesn't affect the value that much. These are knives that are, like I said, they hold their value real well. Now they all hold their value, right? You're not going to just buy one of these and not sell it. You'll be able to sell all of these if you decide you just want to sell it one day. That's not a problem, but I do think that the value retention of the Strider is going to be better. You're going to retain more of your original purchase price on it than I think you will the other two. And I really think that's just a function of supply and demand. There are, at least in my opinion, I have no statistical data to back this up, but I feel like there are less Striders in general out on the market than there are of Hinderers and Chris Reeves. You'll run across Hinderers and Chris Reeves pretty readily on secondary markets or in several of the groups, but Striders don't pop up as often. They do pop up, but just not as often. So guys, at the end of the day, you can't really go wrong with owning any one of these. It doesn't matter which one you buy first if you're gonna end up with all three, because let's face it, I think you should have one of each. They're different enough that you can, like I said, make the argument to have one of each at least. But use kind of some of the characteristics and the things that I think they do better than the other ones. Use that to kind of maybe determine which one. If you're only going to buy one of these, maybe you want more of a gentleman's folder, right? Go with Chris Reeve. You're going to be happy. It's gonna look nice. If you want something that you can just customize the hell out of, and if you decide one day you want to change it to a different show scale or change the hardware color up one day, go with a Hinderer. You're gonna be able to, do that. If you want something that's a tool first, first and foremost, a little more of a tactical look, that's gonna hold its value, you're going to be able to break in a little bit and really kind of put some time into to get it nice and smooth and broke in. Go with a Strider, guys. Like I said, the Holy Trinity. I don't know. You definitely owe it to yourself though to at least try one of these. At least try one, and at least put one in your collection, guys. But like I said, you just probably best off just buying one of each of them. All right, guys, that's it. Let me know what you think. Which one do you think is the best out of these three? I'd be curious to hear your comments on these. If you disagree with me, that's totally fine. Let me know. These are just, of course, my thoughts and opinions on them. But yeah, guys, take care. And as always, stay sharp.